Jai Hind, my dear children. Welcome back to today's biology video class. Previous class we have studied the structure of flower. Today we are continuing with it, and today we are going to study androecium and gynoecium. First of all, androecium. Androecium is the male part of a flower. It composed of stamen, and each stamen consists of a stalk which is called a filament and anther. Each anther consists of two lobes, that is, it is bilobed. And each lobe has two chambers, they are called pollen sacs. Pollen sacs contain pollen grains. A sterile stamen is called a staminode. When stamens are attached to petals, that condition is called epipetalous. Epipetalous stamen are present in brinjal. In some cases, the stamens are attached to perianth. That condition is called epiphyllous. Example, lily. Then what do you mean by perianth? In some plants, calyx and corolla are morphologically similar, and together it is called perianth. Perianth is the non-reproductive part of the flower. The individual members of perianth are called tepals. The stamen in a flower may be united or free. If the stamens in a flower are free, that condition is called polyandrous. Example, lotus. If the stamens are united, that condition is called synandrous. Example, China rose, that is shoe flower. The synandrous stamens are of many types. They are monadelphous, diadelphous and polyadelphous. Monadelphous means the stamens are united to one bundle or one bunch. That is monoadelphous. Adelphous is representing union. Mono means single group. Example, China rose. In the case of diadelphous, the term is indicating here the stamens are grouped into two bundles. Example, pea. Then in polyadelphous, the stamens are united into more than two bundles. Example, citrus. Next comes the female parts of a flower, that is gynoecium. Gynoecium is otherwise known as pistil, which is the female reproductive part of the flower and is made up of one or more carpels. A carpel has three parts: stigma, style and ovary. In this picture you can see stigma, style and ovary. First of all, we can study stigma. Stigma is usually present at the tip of the style and is the receptive surface for pollen grains. Then comes style. Style is an elongated tube that connects ovary to the stigma. Then what do you mean by ovary? It is the enlarged basal part on which the style lies. Each ovary bears one or more ovules attached to a flat cushion-like structure called a placenta. Based on the number of carpels, flowers can be divided into two groups: polycarpellary pistils and monocarpellary pistils. Monocarpellary pistils consist of only one carpels, but in polycarpellary pistils, these are consist of many carpels. In polycarpellary pistils, the pistils may be fused or free. Based on that, polycarpellary pistils are divided into two groups: apocarpus and syncarpus. In apocarpus, the carpels are free. Example, lotus and rose. In syncarpus, the carpels are fused. Example, mustard and tomato. Next, we can study placentation. Placentation is the arrangement of ovules on the placenta within the ovary. It is of many types. They are marginal placentation, axial placentation, parietal placentation, free central placentation and basal placentation. First we can study marginal placentation. In marginal placentation, the placenta forms a ridge along the ventral suture of the ovary, and the ovules are borne on this ridge, forming two rows. Example for marginal placentation is P. Next comes axial placentation. In axial placentation, the placenta is axial and the ovules are attached to it in a multilocular ovary. Example, China rose, tomato and lemon. Then the third type is parietal placentation. Here the ovules develop on the inner wall of the ovary or on peripheral part. Ovary is one chambered, but it becomes two chambered due to the formation of false septum. Example for parietal placentation, mustard and argemone. Fourth type is free central placentation. Here ovules are borne on central axis and septa are absent. Example, dianthus and primrose. And the last type is basal placentation. Here placenta develops at the base of ovary and a single ovule is attached to it. Example, sunflower and marigold. So in this chapter we have studied about flower. Next we have to study inflorescence. I have already mentioned that flowers are the reproductive part of a plant. A flower is a modified shoot where in the shoot apical meristem changes to floral meristem. Internodes do not elongate and the axis gets condensed. The apex produces various floral appendages laterally at successive nodes instead of leaves. When a shoot tip transforms into a single flower, it is called a solitary. Arrangement of cluster of flowers on the floral axis is called inflorescence. There are mainly two types of inflorescence. They are racemose type and cymose type. This classification is based on whether the apex gets converted into a flower or continue to grow. In racemose type of inflorescence, the main axis continues to grow. It does not terminate in a flower. And here the flowers are borne laterally in acropetal succession. That is, older flowers can be seen at the base, young flower can be seen at the top. This arrangement is called acropetal succession. Second one is cymose inflorescence. In this type, the main axis terminates in a flower. Here, the growth is limited. In cymose type of inflorescence, the flowers are borne in basipetal order. That is, older flowers can be seen at the top and younger flowers can be seen at the base. This arrangement is called a basipetal order. Dear children, only this much is given for studying in this chapter, Morphology of Flowering Plants.